musha uko kufa kunopeka kusafa ndichamziwa mponesi apo achazo uya iye anondigashira mumusha ndichamziwa apo ndichazomira naye ndichamziwa nematadzi mumaoko ake ndichazofara kwazvo kuona uso wake nekupenya kwemadziso akewo moyo wangu kumkudza ngerudo nemutsa anondigadzira musha kumusoro ndichamziwa apo ndichazomira naye ndichamziwa nematadzi mumaoko ake ndinotondera awa warikanwi wakafa kuti ngerufu tapatsana nawo apo Jesu auya nawo tichasangana asi ndichatanga kuona Jesu ndichamziwa apo ndichazomira naye ndichamziwa nematadzi mumaoko ake achanditungamira kupinda mazambara apo tisingazowine urambo ndichaimba neweserioro rekufara asi ndichatanga kuona Jesu ndichamziwa apo ndichazomira naye ndichamziwa nematadzi mumaoko ake ndichamziwa apo ndichazomira naye ndichamziwa nematadzi mumaoko ake ndichamziwa apo ndichazomira naye ndichamziwa nematadzi mumaoko ake.
Toda kutenda Mwari nekutisanganisa mukati mezuva ranhasi. Tine mufaro mukati memavhiki maviri atichange tine muenzi akakosha Pastor Uncle Ivan Gwatiringa, our SID Youth Director, vari pakati pedu. Mufundisi tokuchingamidzai.
Thank you, our elegant and lovely host. No tender sterek unozoti ukangorangarirwawo panguva dzakadai so chinhu chakanaka. Toda kutendai wadikani watereri and everyone who's following us. We are so excited and I'm also happy to be here. Ndokufara kuva pano pachirongwa.
Thank you, Pastor. Vatereri vangada kuziva kuti ndiani Pastor Ivan Gwatiringa.
All right. Well, hai unoziva kana kune mubvunzo unonetsa kupindura yekuti
Yeah.
ndiwani because you want to try and portray kanonzi Facebook live kekupa zvakangonaka zvega. But in short, I think Pastor Ivan is married man. I'm married ndine mudzimai umwe chete sezvinongodiwa neshoko raMwari. I'm married to Silindile Nicola Gwatiringa, and according to police we have 2 children. One boy and one girl. Wow. Shekaina and Sheina. And I love the ministry and ndinonyanyofara hangu kutamba newana nekuita zvinhu zvanowatsva, but still you cannot be a pastor and not love the mission we are called to, basa ratakadanidzirwa kuva kwariri. But generally I think in short this is who Pastor Ivan is.
Powerful. Vamwe ungada kuziva kuti Pastor Ivan Gwatiringa mukuzvarwa kwavo mumhuri mavo vakawanda sei?
All right. Yeah. So kumba kwedu tiri 4. Patiri 4, I'm the only boy.
Okay.
Saka well, don't think I'm spoiled. Ndina kuspoiliwa ndingori ndega mukomana. So I've got 3 sisters, and both my parents are alive, my mom and my dad. Of course I grew up in a Catholic family because kumusha kwedu kunonzi kwaChurumanzu. It's a predominantly Catholic area. So in my family, it's only myself and my mom who are actually Adventist.
Wow.
And of course my older sister, nominal Adventist, and then the other 2 sisters, of course they are married, so unongozoti kana munhu angotorwa chete. But my dad, obviously, like I said, we come from a very predominantly Catholic background. He is of a Catholic background, although I wasn't going to say vasingaende ku church, but that's basically who I am. Amen. And yeah, I think I'm the kana muri 4 but anonzi middle child, but tiri 2 pakati apa saka tinenge tingoripo ipapo. Yeah, so basically from my family we have got 2 parents, 3 sisters, and it's quite a lovely. And by the way, I don't know, maybe since we are talking about mission, they often say a prophet has no honor in his own house. But anyway, yeah, that's best. Like I said, it's only me and my mom and my older sister who are Adventist.
So I heard you talking about the Catholic background. Yeah, vamwe ungada kuziva kuti chisavada chacho manje. Makachiziva sei, makachiwana sei, mama wakachiwana sei, ndimakatanga here, ndimama wakatanga here. From Catholic, the experience itself in that family, makachiwana sei chisavada?
Well, my story is quite interesting because my parents vakasangana kuhondo. So when they, not the great controversy though, I mean the actual war, hondo Chimurenga. So my mother actually comes from a place in the Jombe, and it's actually a predominantly Adventist. And then my father came from KwaChurumanzu, which is predominantly Catholic. But kana mango sangana unoza zvimwe zongoita maitikira zvinenge zvaita then so my mother then was married to my father. And then let me fast forward so that at least we get, in fact, I went to a Jesuit school for 6 years.
Wow.
You know, the Jesuit Society is actually named after St. Ignatius of Loyola. So I was actually at St. Ignatius, the hub of Jesuit. I mean, you can't tell me of anything. You talk about mass, talk about everything else, and also because sekuru wangu inini, sekuru wangu cheche, vaitwa fata, vaitwa Father Gwatiringa pa Holy Cross, iko KwaChurumanzu. Saka zvechechi tatagara zvechechi zvanga zvingoripo, but St. Ignatius hapana chata tisingazive. Catechism tatakatori memorize baba zvatinongoita maideals ekupathfinder nekuningiri nayo haranga ratomo. Yeah, so then taigara kuKambuzuma, but my mother, because she used to come from an Adventist background, although my dad was not going to church, mama wakangoramba vachienda kusavada. Saka sewana taenda ku-Adventist. However, because of boarding school. Saka the four of us, umwe nomwe akaenda ku different boarding school, saka ikoko ndo kwaizoita almost like choice yekuti uri kuita sei. So I can safely say in my high school days I was more of Catholic because of
school.
But to cut the long story short, in 2004 my mom had a stroke. And then right a stroke, the doctor said she may not talk, she may not walk. At some time wakatomboita kuti hauchatoziva kuti chii chiri kuitika. So she didn't even recognize us. And I remember very well, tata ugara kuWaterfalls then, vanhu vanga vari muprayer band navo kuchurch kwavaenda, they used to come home and they would pray for my mother. And I remember that's the time that by that time ndakarukwa maconros. I wish I had the pictures out. So I had cornrows and that kind of a thing. But I remember one day making a prayer, Mwari, if you heal my mother, I will save you as long as I live. And that was then that year, I remember ndakatoenda meeting kuNyauni. And then I remember Pastor Njini na Pastor Tunira were the guest speakers. Baba pakarova shoko. Yeah, unongonzwa wega. Right. Yeah, and now so what happened? Nyaya kubhabhatidzwa manje. It's a nice and interesting story. Remember 1999? Panga pafamba nyaya yekuti nyika iri kupera muna 2000 Y2K thing. Saka ndakaenda mazuva aita achiri kuKambuzuma, ndobva taenda kune imwe program yanga yangoitwa kuCrusade. Saka taendaona namama Manheru kwaiparidzwa naPastor Manando. Vakaparidza songe Jesu ari kuuya mangwana, unoziva. Vakati nyaya yekuti nyika iri kuguma ndo yakazonyanya
vachirova manje.
Ndikati Jesu akauya ndisina kubhabhatidzwa. So ndakabhabhatidzwa ndichifunga kuti nyika yakwenda kuenda sei, yakwenda kundoguma. But even ndabhabhatidzwa, so ndakabhabhatidzwa 1999. But zvanga zviri zvefiye. Fear, not that the fear of the Lord, but yongota kumana kunyika ikaguma ndisina kubhabhatidzwa. So after 2000 tikati nyika ina kupera, saka ndobva tatodzokera hedu ku-riotous living yedu yatata kutongoziva. So but 2004 I think that was my turning point.
Naenda K-meeting manje?
No. K-meeting ndakazoenda hangu after scenario yamama wangu. Pane anonzi Benson Watadza ndiye akazondinvita kuenda K-meeting. So I went to K-meeting 2000 that was now 2000 August 2005. Ndo pandakazoenda K-meeting. But ndakumboita ndichienda kuchechi. Ndine afro yangu ndandisina bvisa kurukwa manje. Pana ndichiri kuchengeta afro. So after K-meeting iyoyo pakabva paya nekusolusi. Ndobva paya kuNyauni koko. Ndobva kwaya Pastor J.B. Sibanda. You know him. Pastor J.B. Sibanda. He was the registrar. Ndobvati tuda ndobva dzapromota solusi dzikati kana pana wada kuuya kusolusi ndandiri kushanda kuinsurance. Yeah, but marwero akaitwa shoko. So if vanhu vanga variko 2005 iyo yakaya pastor, they would tell papa pakarohwa shoko.
Apo pana Njini, pana Tunira,
pazoita mwero wamorning mana unoza papo nekuzora nyazozano akawanda, but my main speakers because nasandanyasosimbira pachisa. So ndobva kwanzi vada kuuya kusolusi, anoza ndakangoti ndini ndakuda kuita pastor.
Apa une afro yako?
Ndobva ndanopiwa mafomu, ndobva ndatoapply. Saka unoziva kuti ziya zvekuti unoziva kana munhu achiti ndikuda kuapply kuita theology, unenge uchitoti zvinhu zvese zviri correct. Saka angoenda kusolusi, handina kana tsamba yechechi, handina kana tsamba yeconference.
Ndobva wangosvika.
Rasvika after about tatofamba ngirikini
semester.
Tatopakati ndo pandakazodaidzwa nchinzi apati hapana recommendation letter yeconference, hapana yekuchechi. Ndikati conference ndekupi? But at least the good thing is we had already started. But I want to thank the Lord that sometimes God calls us in different ways. And when I look back, ndikambosangana neshamwari dzangu dzandaidzidzana nadzo kuSt Ignatius, they just can't fathom the fact that
Mfundisi. Uri pastor.
Yeah, so
Ende zvine zvisiri structured. Kuti Mwari kukudana kwake sezvakaita Moses kana kuti Pauro achienda kuDamascus. It's something.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I used to be a very good soccer player.
Wow.
So my dream was to, I mean, like anyone who plays soccer, my dream was like, hey, I want to be at Manchester United. I mean, it's just a, not to say that, but you know what you think, this is the line that I'm going to, because I was doing a lot of sports at school. In fact, ndakatozoenda ku A level because of sports. It was not because I was very good in academics and what. So growing up, I always wanted to play professional sports, preferably soccer, and I was also very fast in athletics. But
wow, what a really true such an experience, and the missionary journey Pastor Ivan Gwatiringa. Vamwe ungada kubva waziva your experience masvika paSolusi. Hamuna background yechifundisi. Kumba kwenyu hakuna munhu akamboita pastor. In the chinhu chacho muri kutotanga kuti the Greek, the Hebrew, makutanga kudzidziswa the fundamentals, the doctrines, makudzidza zvese. How was the experience paSolusi?
So, like I said, tiri wadiki because mama ndo vaenda kuchurch. Saka ka experience ke Adventism kanga karipo. You know, you'll be surprised that if I tell you right now, I may be the SID Pathfinder director, but I didn't go through Pathfinders, adventurers, and you know what other people have gone through, because it was not, we were nominal Adventists, if you know what I'm trying to say. I mean, right now it's not even, I cannot even say, mama wangu aisanda Kokom. I mean, she was the Adventist. She was working ku Kokom. Saka ndaitoziva kuti every day nditori ne pork pie yangu, ndine mapolon. Unozati ndaichovesa vanhu mabhasikoro nepolon kuti chero isipo kuti unoziva mama wangu achienda ku Kokom iyo. Kana wazoya achienda nepolon, ndimbono bhasikoro ndochovha. So I used to eat pork. When I went to St. Ignatius, I told you kuti ndanda kutoroka musoro. Of course, the one thing that helped me not to get into these things is ndaiva condition yanzi rheumatic heart disease. Saka ndaiti ndikaputa forge kana ndikamwa doro ndaita palpitations. Ndo chinhu chakangondidzora chete kuti ndisazopinde deep into those things. But once in a while, because my dad was a smoker. Saka vaiti kana wasiya tudzanga tudiki tumwe toita dongoro tanzi kuoneka romboka kwenya ureba ndazotanga kukosora manje. Saka ndo zvakaita ndise, but ka background kacho kanga karimo, kanga kasina kunyanyo simba. And well, we just have to say these things. My youth camps apo napo, not my camps but my youth programs ekuti paingozi pari kusangana waizomboenda uchingofunga kuti pamwe ndogonozongo dai ndonoka. Saka taimbopota tichindaenda maprograms. But after 2004, when the miracle happened, when my mother was healed, ndakabva ndatanga kuenda hangu kuchurch. I have a friend anonzi Simba Shumba aimba mu group rinonzi Streams of Praise. Saka ndakufamba ne Streams of Praise, you know, so time andakazoenda kuSolusi ndandaita hangu kamwe
Adventist
pinde. But you know, going to Solusi now I'll tell you what was in my mind. Ndaifunga kuti pandichasvika paSolusi unoona vakapfugama vachinamata, because I was now thinking that this is the school of the prophets.
Ndasvika panzvimbo tsvene
uchangosvika uno uchingoti ukabvapo uno uringonamata, ukabvapo uno ndobva yes, Solusi vanhu vatongoripo, of course, pane mapastors and everything else. So the shock for me was I was expecting it to be more of a holier ground. But remember, pastors were almost a drop in the ocean because the other disciplines were I didn't expect bora, you know. I'm just telling you about my expectations. So when I got there and realized that it's like any other universities, you know, I just had to adjust. But of course, realizing that I was a theology student, there were some expectations on our side. Good thing is I met friends at Solusi, like, you know, we met at Solusi, people helping us here and there. good thing is Solusi now, at the time yatakaenda isusu, there were actually more senior pastors than younger pastors. Saka, you had the likes of Pastor Tapera, who Pastor Tapera actually put me under his I used to call him Gamaliel. He's the one vaingoti dzoredzera kuti ano apa munenge nachita. I saw people like Pastor Nkanyezi. He was not so old. Vanga vari nechepakati nepakati, but they were married, so I put out chingoti Patsira, you know. And then of course, when we talk about the young pastors, you know, the community, we had a lot of, I mean, the list is endless. It was there to assist. And chimwe chakatibatsira kuti ndirambe ndichigrow into it was now association. I'll just give you an example because you're already here. You come from a family that is predominantly Adventist, and I know in your family, how many siblings do you have who are pastors?
Almost three,
because one is studying, the other one is already in ministry. Your father, so ukasangana manje nevanhu vari kubva from that background, unongoramba uchitonota ndinotoramba ndichitoenda ndichingodaro. But yeah, it was an experience. It was an experience. I was not married then, but the Lord was good.
Powerful. 4 years, 3 years. You did a minor.
I did a minor in child studies.
I remember. What pushed you? Because you are talking about Kufarra Jevana. I still remember Makazita, Pathfinder director, Solusi, Adventure director, and the kids. You know, the story is this issue of running around. Zvagatanga kuva manifested Papa Solusi. That gift. How was it?
You know, I always look back and, you know, I tried to trace even from my background. I don't have, you know, I'm a storyteller.
Okay.
I will, I love kungotaura nyaya. Zvekuti taiti kana zvikoro zvavharwa ndiri kuSt Ignatius. Paivhurwa zvikoro people would come around me because I would then because I was one of the few guys vaigara kuma high density ghetto. Most of the kids were St Ignatius, they used to come. So I used to but to say the children's ministry, so I was elected the first one at Solusi, adventurer director. That was the first one before I became Pathfinder director. And that was actually my first time working with kids. But then I realized that, man, I love doing this work. So I actually think I don't know whether I already had the passion, but chakatanga kunyasobuda kusolusi with the likes because I think Jefta and Love, so and now he's actually a pastor. And Adelaide Makamure, Tino, you know the guy who's running. I know the guy who is running Bluffhill.
Yes, Makuire.
Tino Makuire. I say no, the Lord is good. So that's how I then developed the interest in working with kids, because all my years I was serving as adventure and Pathfinder director. Saka pandakazongobva ikoko ndakatongobva ndane passion. However, because you know this is an area that mostly women used to do. I'm looking for the right word, but let me just use, for lack of better words, let me use the word challenge. So even when I came into proper ministry and I wanted to do that,
to continue with
that, you know, I'm trying to look for the right words.
Difficult.
But you know, there are times where maybe it could be senior pastors or other people would say, no, but you know what? So I got confused now to say, hey, so
this ministry,
another developer liking. Yes. I was now getting so excited about this particular ministry, and I had now invested so much into it. That's why in my second year I then chose to do child and family at Solusi, because nandaona kunakidza kwazvo. Now ndasvika kwandiri kufunga I've arrived at the land that flows with milk and honey in the ministry, and then they say, probably there's no place for this. But like I said, you know, everything progresses. Maybe by that time, I don't want to call it new light, but I just want to say sometimes
Mwari anotendera.
yes, to break new ground. Although I'm not saying I was the first boss, but there were the likes of people like Pastor Chijande, Dr. Mfune. Of course, Dr. Mfune is well known for that. I mean, there were people who had now gone into that line, but I think it was just, you know, just go accept kuti munhu ari kuti ndoda kushanda nevana. You know.
I remember you are good in memorizing. Greek my teacher. I remember Pastor Chifamba would say, you know, I've been in Pastor Tapera. Yeah, Greek.
Now just tell the church good night gonna Greek.
No, Greek I go now no Amari. But you find that you were good in memorizing.
Yeah.
And I see it could you also instilled Ivana in terms of memorization, even the Bible gems and other verses and other things, to the extent they could pasolusi chapa waiona vana vachita induction vachita that Christmas carol, the skits themselves, they would memorize everything. What was the
so one thing that God has blessed me with is I've got a photographic mind.
Yeah,
like it's so photographic that sometimes when I look at something, it took me about less than 2 hours to memorize Hebrews 11 from verse 1. In fact, up to chapter 12, verse, you know, most of the things that I, even when doing the Bible journey, if I write it, when I look at it, I could. So that's why even Greek, it was easy. You know, I would read a passage transliterated. I would go and write it almost word for word. Because of that photographic memory that God has. But I know God has gifted people in various ways, and for me, that is one of the gifts. And I wanted to help children to do that. And when I look at most of the kids that I would work with during that time, and they are also appreciative. So I always want to maybe challenge those who are under varakateerera pazuva ranhasi, you know what, God will never give all of us the same gift, but Mwari arikuda kuti gift yaunayo iyoyo, use it to impact and impact other people. And like I said, when I look back, it's my memory verse, memorize this thing, and they are doing quite well. So that's what God has gifted me with, the ability to remember and memorize. And I look even at my own two kids. My daughter, she's now 6, but she started memorizing the 10 Commandments when she was 3, because I would just challenge her, do this. So in our area of gifting, my prayer is that the Lord would help us impact there.
Mabva paSolus 4 years dapera makwenda kuministry. Makaenda kudunhu ripi ramakatanga kutungamirira?
Wow. Yeah, you know,
Karuendo.
You know, that 1.5 years was like ministry 10 years.
Wow.
Because, you know, I was thrown into a school.
Wow.
Straight from school, I went and became a chaplain. Of course, allow me to, now that, because, you know, I then fell in love with chaplains. Actually, I'm doing right now I'm studying the Andrews. So I'm doing a doctorate in chaplains, which is also different from my passion. My passion is children and young people. But because of my first experience, chaplain, you know, chaplains, my friend, I want to say, one of the most fulfilling ministries is chaplains. Why? Because chaplains, you are always changing lives, because you are meeting people who are struggling with one thing or the other, and every time they come to you, they are expecting you to help them. But allow me to say this. I'm saying this because I want people to understand what I'm saying. I went into chaplains when I was not ready for chaplains, because I had not been trained to become a chaplain. However, in my training, just a pastoral work, I was able to do certain things. It's only when I started doing professional chaplains that I realized that, but still in that space, I think God had given enough knowledge and information and training for me to be able to help. Of course, I was mainly helping students and maybe staff members and what, but chaplains is one way God can use to draw people towards himself. And that 1.5 years, Pastor, I want to tell you, the work I did in that 1.5 years as a chaplain, when I equate the other ministerial work, it can almost equate to about 10 years.
Yes.
Because you were, every day was a moment to draw someone closer to Christ. However, because I was not trained for it, sometimes I would also get emotionally attached. Because imagine when a child comes and tells you, my experience is abuse arikumba kwao. Maybe whether it's the child or even the father abusing the child, or whatever it is, and then you see them grow out of a situation, and then later on either you are transferred or they finish school and they are going, but mama to create a kamika, because the more people open up to you, the more you get attached. Or something just happens even in their family. Maybe they lost their parent. It's like you've lost a mother. So it was
such an experience.
It was such an experience. It was fulfilling, but at the same time you had to do a lot of attachments because you are in a, and remember, a school is a closed community. And all those things. But it was a great one.
Pastor, probably Novara on this episode, is there any experience ya munona roko rwa Mwari muri paruya for 1.5 years ya munoti tisingatauri edu mazita, any situation yamakasangana nayo yamakati wow apa Mwari apindira through your help as a chaplain panzvimbo yoyo?
Yeah, for Ruya, like I said, my ministry at Ruya was for only 1.5 years. But to me, it looked like 10 years. Like right now, I still have a lot of students because, quite an account who were not coming from, who were pre-Adventists, and then they would get baptized. But because when I was a chaplain at Truya, I was just coming from Solusi, I was very young. And then a lot of these young boys wanted to, so I ended up, baptism. A lot of them would then say, no, I want Pastor Gwatiringa to be my mentor, or like Temra Toshan's spiritual parent. So I actually had 42 of them. Wow. And I'm still in touch with all 42.
Wow, really?
And I've attended weddings for 3 of them. That one akazo chatrake outside. Wow. One is actually in Poland right now. So I can safely say, like I said, that ministry was so powerful. Wow. And because it had closely knit, even up to today, we still communicate. Wow. Some of them, they even come, and then Saka, but it's my success stories akati one day. Wow. But maybe let me also say ndataura impact yacho kune vamwe vanhu, but let me talk of the impact to me. For me, Ruya is what made me who I am today. One, because ndokwandakatangira, and there were a lot of people who helped me grow to be what. Some of them were not even pastors. I talk of Elder Tendere. Elder Tendere was the mission director then, or headmaster. He also took me under his wing. I was the pastor, he was the headmaster, but he helped me to grow to be the person that I am. There were some elders, my elders, and Elder Chabata, I don't know if you know them. I mean, there were lots of people who had been in the barrows before we came. Even though they were not pastors, they helped my ministry to grow, and I'm so excited.
Vatereri tiri kunzwa nhoroondo yaPastor Gwatiringa in this missionary journey. Mwari nekushanda kuvabvisa kwavakabva kusvikira vasvike pari nhasi. Ngatisanganei next week pane imwe episode tichinzwa zvimwe pamusoro Pastor Ivan Gwatiringa. Thank you so much.
Amen.
Inzwa Jesu odaidza, ndiani osewenza minda ye chakowa tenzi anodaitira achazokupatuso ndiani achapindura ndiri pano nditume kana usingabiri nyanza kana kushumaira shumaira vahedeni vakakutendereza kana usiringirosi kana usi Pauro taura rudo rwa Jesu uti akatifira kana usiri murindi parushingo rwezioni uchinongedza kudenga kunova paupenyu nemina matone zvipo woita kuda kwake ungafanane naAron kubatsira muprofiti apo mweya iri kufa tenzi achidaidza usazotine munyope handikwanisi basa ita basa ranokupa farira basa rake kasika kumupindura ndiri pano nditume apo mweya iri kufa tenzi anolanidza usazotiwe neunyope handikwanisi basa itabasa ranokupa farira basa rake kasika kumupindura ndiri pano nditume itabasa ranokupa farira basa rake kasika kumupindura ndiri pano nditume kasika kumupindura ndiri pano nditume kasika